recording is started. Now coming back to the PDF, exception handling. So we have seen somewhere like we were facing some exception and how to handle the exceptions. Okay, so first I will show you that the exception part, then I will show you how to handle that exception part. Consider that this was the program. And when I put something wrong value here and try to execute run as Java application, it shows me exception in thread main. So what does exception means? Exception is something abnormal termination of your program. So if your code is like error free, it will complete the execution of the program, but once it finds any exception. So normally Java is designed in such a way, if you have not handled the exception, so your program will terminate from there. So you see here the last line, it is saying that this is the file name .java. In the line number 17 there is some exception and the name of exception is printed at the first. Okay, and some reasons that why it failed, something like it will come. So exception in thread main, it means in the main method, because in Java it's a multi-threading, so main is considered as a thread, so that's why this message is coming. Exception in thread main, the exception name is, and this is the name of the package, so java.util.regex pattern syntax exception, and the message it is printed that what was could be the possible error. So it is saying that unclosed character class near index 0. So in the index 0 it was something this found, something like this it is pointing. So it's not matching, means something we have passed that is a wrong value. So if you have to go and fix it, consider that you got the exception. So one is like manual way and go and fix it. So line number 17 I am getting some error, so I will consider, oh, this is due to that, then I will fix it manually. So right click, now run as it is printing correctly. So this is one way of fixing, but other exceptions also there. I'll show you a couple of examples, then I will try to show you how to handle the exception. So normally exceptions are there in the, like first let me show you the structure of that. You see here, if any problem is occurred, so it create exception, then it throw exception, and then it's up to you how to handle the exception. So object class is the main class, then throwable class is there. So you see here, this is only the one class which is ABLE in Java, and it is a class. Normally all the interfaces have the name as ABLE, but it is creating one confusion whether it is an interface or whether it is a class. So basically throwable is a class in Java, and throwable is the parent of error class and exception class. So mostly we are dealing with the exception part, and error which you have to know that maybe it can occur somewhere. So I will try to reproduce couple of errors which is bit difficult, like errors, creating errors and all such things bit difficult, handling errors also difficult. But let me try couple of errors, means I can try to reproduce the errors part, and then I will show you that in which possible scenario error can occur and how to avoid errors, how we cannot handle the errors, but we can handle the exception part, right? So once the exception is handled, then you can run your program in smoothly and it will reach to the endpoint. So we have exception class. The exception has a runtime exception class, and like this is IO exception. So basically exception is divided into two sections. One is checked and one is unchecked. So checked, it means during compilation time it will be detected. So this is IO exception, file not found exception, socket exception. So this right side part are like some checked exception examples, and unchecked exceptions are like which will be detected during runtime. At the compile time, compiler is not designed in such a way that it can detect the exceptions in the advance for the runtime exception. So a couple of runtime exceptions are illegal argument exception, index out of bound exception, means you have an array and you try to handle or access the index which is not present. Some number format exception, arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception. So this kind of exceptions will occur, and whosoever is parent, it is detecting. So you see a runtime exception is parent of these three classes. Yes, one is index out of bound, illegal argument, and one more class, arithmetic exception. And illegal argument exception is the parent of number format exception. Index out of bounds exception is the parent of array index out of bound exception. So couple of things they have designed in this way, and for error they have given some example: out of memory error, stack overflow error, linkage error. So only three examples they have given here, but in the interview you have to recall these names, at least two examples of each of them, two or three they are expecting in the interview. So you have to tell at least 5 to 10 exceptions name, and then you have to categorize that in which category it comes. Maybe it comes under runtime, or it maybe come under compile time, means checked or unchecked. Runtime means unchecked, compile time means checked. So IO exception is a compile time exception. I will show you some examples for that so that you will understand it better way. So let me go there and show you. Somewhere I will try to write and show you. So see the name of the package. Wherever exception you will call, you don't need to import it because it is also the part of java.lang package. JDK 1.0. So this is one important, and the parent of exception is throwable class. You see here extends keyword there, so that's it is indicating it's a class. You go to the throwable class, it's implement serializable. So serializable you already know, it's a marker interface in Java. So couple of marker interface also you should memorize, and just look at the main parent root class of the exception. So root class of the exception is throwable. This is interview question, which is the root class of exception. So you will see that throwable is a super parent class of all the exceptions in Java. You go there, show view, and just click on outline. You will see couple of constructors and methods. So constructor is like, one is blank, one you can pass something a string, and you can pass something a string and throwable kind of thing. So you can pass it like that. And one is throwable, where you can just pass the throwable kind of thing. So you will, once you will start using it, then only you will understand what is the real use of that. And basically this fill in stack trace, this is the method which is causing the exception handling and all such things. It will see here everything. If I turn it off, then in the throwable there is this one, this variable you can see. This is a private variable. Basically it is throwing all such things on the console. This is responsible for everything. Fill stack trace. Okay, this is high level informations for you, but once you turn on the green part, so this is visible to the public world. So you can use these kind of things: get message, get localized message, get calls, get suppressed, int cause, print stack trace. Print stack trace means you can pass something. Print writer, set stack trace to string. So this kind of things you will be using in the future. So this is for your information. If you go to the exception class, also you see that what are the methods present there. So in the exception class, no methods are there since throwable is the parent, and you just saw whatever the public methods were there, that will always be the part of that. So exception, then string throwable, this. All these are like constructors of the exception class. If I am going there, just right click here and open type hierarchy. So this is something very important. Once I open type hierarchy, and in the Eclipse, you see here how the hierarchy is designed. If I go to the throwable, right click, type hierarchy. So you can see here, this is the super parent, and this is error is there, exception is there, and it is again the parent of other things as well. So stack recorder, trace record, caller stack trace. So all such things are not very much widely used first by us, but you will be using exception. So this is something very important for us as an automation resource. But error also you should know. So error is having like parent of these many classes. But here only 2 or 3 they have displayed. So no worries, you can go and check that how many classes it is having under it. So input output error, internal error, assertion error, thread date, virtual machine error. So all these errors are categorized, and based on the error category it will come. You see here again the sequence says that assertion error is like this. It is parent of array comparison failure. So you can go and explore where linkage error is the parent of these many classes here. Again this class is the parent of this class. Again this class is the parent of this class. So you can have some idea that how the hierarchy is being designed. So that's very interesting things. You can go and check. But mainly if I talk about exception, so I will just expand this and I will look for checked and unchecked category. So by seeing here, it's very hard to define which one is checked and which one is unchecked. But as per your knowledge, means as per your experience, you will come to know it's a checked exception or unchecked exceptions. By seeing here, I see, and by the real use, you will come. So compiler will detect the check exception. That is one hint. Means once you write or anything like that, so compiler will be coming to the picture and it will automatically detect. So couple of exceptions we will discuss. Like here, illegal cat exception, it is invalid. Age exception, and one more important thing, you can also define your exception. So input output exception, it is the checked one. If you expand this, you will get lot of things. So file not found exception is a child of like what you call IO exception. So since you now understand the inheritance, then only you will be able to understand this part. Otherwise initially it is so much out of interest of topic for people. But now you are familiar with how the parent child things are designed. Classes can be the parent of class. So those kind of concepts now you have. So now you can go and check based on your interest and need basis. You can go and explore that how the internal structure of the exceptions are being designed. So you can see here SSL exception is there. So what kind of SSL exceptions can be thrown? SSL protocol exception, SSL key exceptions. So a lot of exceptions they have given. And you go to the some unchecked exception also, that is okay. So look for runtime. See here, a runtime exception is there, which is the parent of so many classes here. And just have a look so that it will really help when you will see any kind of exception. So normally 5 exceptions you should remember in Java, and that is very important for you. So you see here, one is arithmetic exception, buffered overflow exception, date time exception, found index, it's not important, illegal argument exception, illegal state exception, one is null pointer exception. That is very important. You will be so frequently encountering this. I also saw some kind of examples for that. Parsing exception will be there, and couple of exceptions are itself the parent of other exceptions. So you can go and explore in the, if you see something like that, so you can go and explore like that. No such element exception, input match exception. So this is high level things for you. So I will come on that part once I will go for the real example. Structure wise you are clear. Now I will look for the exceptions example. Somewhere it should be there. Finding is again a challenge. Where it gone? Anyone can see? Exception demo. Should be more. I'll find it. It's okay. You see here, arithmetic exceptions demo. So I'm going to give you demo. And to handle the exception, there are two ways in Java. One is via try-catch block. So what try-catch block says that in the try you put the error code, means where exception can occur, and in catch you try to handle the exception. So just try to understand the syntax of this this line of code which can cause exception, means it was normally causing exception, so I put in the try block. And one try block, if exception will occur, so what it will do, it can have multiple catch block. Okay, it can have 1, it can have 0, it can have multiple. It's up to you how you have designed. So if you want to handle exception here, so you can have a relevant catch block. So since exception is the parent of all the exceptions, so either you can put the relevant exception or you can just put the exception. That is up to you. So if you are putting the relevant, then this is more efficient way of programming. But if you can put exception, that is also okay. And since this method is already present in the throwable, you know, right, where it was in the throwable class, you know. So from there, since it is a reference of what you call exception, so it can access that method. So I'm able to access this method via this reference, and so it's a parent-child relationship. So you see here, this line of code is something to demo the exception part. So let me comment the entire thing, then I will show you. And one more important, for exception handling, you should always have the closing statements, means final closing statements, so that you will come to know whether your program successfully executed or not. Because in the case of exception, if you are handling and if you have not handled it properly, you will never know whether your program executed successfully or not. So you can see here, you normally know this concept. Two numbers are there, and I'm trying to divide the first number by 0. So normally, programmatically, this is correct. There is no syntax error, everything is. So when compiler will check, the compiler will never find that there is any compilation issue here. But when the execution will occur, so it is against the rule that any number you are trying to divide by 0. So that time it is designed in such a way that it will say that some exception occurred, and that exception caused by this reason, and you go and fix that issue. So if I am not using try catch, just I am showing that first part. I will comment that part. Consider that I have written a code which is not having any try catch. Just commented it. And I have a line here, line number 45, which is just printing indent and date time it will print. So I am executing it. You see here, divide by 0 is something not allowed. It's saying that I started this time, exception in thread main, and the exception name is java.lang arithmetic exception, and the reason coming was divided by 0. And where it occurred, it is saying that line number 14. So it's showing that go and check. So I know it's okay, but I want to handle it. So how to handle it? It's very simple. So just select this line of code and just right click here, go to the source, and then surround by try catch. Where is that code? Yeah, no, not source. Go to surround with. It's very simple, means you don't need to worry about that how to write those things. So you can put here try catch block, surround with. So if you surround with this one, it will automatically come, and to do part will come. You can remove this. It's not needed. Now you see here, this line of code was causing exception, right? So what I did, I took the help of like Java automatic programming, and based on that I surrounded it with the exception. So by default it is showing exception, but if you are a proficient programmer, so you can handle a particular exception. So exception name was arithmetic exception. So you can copy this and you can paste it like this. It's up to you. This is also okay, means there is no problem, but if you are putting the parent of this, then this is not needed here. And one more thing, like if you have multiple catch, that is second thing. I will show you that part. That is also allowed, but let's not let's start with the basic part, then move to the next level. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to handle the exception, but you see in the last program output, when I executed a console, show view console, it didn't execute the last line. I was having one last line which was not executed. This line was not executed. Ended at, started at executed, but ended at not executed. So I was not able to get that line because of line number 14. It got exception. So when it got the exception, line number 14, whatever it was, so it terminated my program from there, and then it came out here. Okay. So what I am trying to do, I am trying to handle it via try catch. Once I am trying to handle it via try catch, you see here, this line of code should be executed. So it's saying that ended at, so your program will always execute in a proper manner. Even the exception will occur or it will not occur. Yeah, detail of exception it is printing. You see here, it is saying here, and after completion of the program, it is saying that exception occurred at this line. So for your information, but my program executed successfully. You can see. So now I am knowing that, yeah, my program executed successfully. There was exception, but exception occurred at line number 15. So if you want to handle the exception, so you should use try catch, and you want the successful completion of your program, even any exception is occurring in middle, then you should use the try and catch. So this was some basic example of try catch. We will see more examples. So let's see some exceptions first. Let them to occur, and then I will show how to handle them. So this is null pointer exception, another exception. So normally you see here, I'm commenting it out. So I have a class obj equal to new class A. Okay, but here I have some classes, other classes as well. I will write, right? So I'm creating some object here. Okay, fine. And what I'm trying to do, I'm just creating the object and then public key. But from where it is coming? Public key, where it is public key? It is coming from this class, package A. Okay, so I am creating a object from this package. You can see here from where it is coming. And then I am trying to access the variable of this. So it has no value, by default value is 0. You can see here. So if I run this program, I will not face any issue. It should execute successfully. It is 0. But again, this is not good example for you, I believe. If I want to see null pointer exception, I don't feel it is a good one. Let me find a good example for you. Control C, Control V. Can come here to number 2. What I'm trying to do, I don't have this. I don't have these things. I have this. This is mandatory for exception handling, because you should know whether your exception is properly handled or not. Now, consider that I have a call. I can create the string class str, okay, equal to null. So when something is not pointing to any object in Java, okay, or it is pointing to null, then in that case the high chances that it will throw you null pointer exception. So consider that I'm using like that str dot length, and then I'm assigning it to or printing it s out. So I'm saying that I'm getting an exception, line number 16. The exception is null pointer exception. So how to handle it? Where is the line number? Just go to that line number 16. So I came here and just right click here, surround with try catch or try multi catch. It's up to you. So since it is not that case, so that is not coming multi, otherwise it could have come. So this is the method. This is one way of printing the error directly in the red color. But there is another way you can print it like s out. you have this object, right? You copy this and then put a dot. Git methods are there, you can use that git message. So now it will not print the exception in the red color. If you comment it and you use like this, so since you are printing it, so it will not print in the red color. Normally it will just display, because I am using S out, that what are the error message getting. You see here, it is printing the exception, but it's a null. But if you comment this part, uncomment this part means and then comment this part and then run it, then you will feel some difference over there. So once this is on, print stack trace means what the stack error get, you show me that one. So it is showing you the entire part, that this was the issue I got, and due to this one null pointer exception, and where it came at the line number 17. Even the program executed successfully, you can see here. Once the exception occurred and the try catch was not there, so this line was never executed. So to understand the exceptions, you should always use this line of code. Then you will come to know whether your program executed successfully or not. So let me find other examples, because I have other examples, but need to find where it is. Exception handling. Only this much cannot have. I have lot. I think it should be somewhere here. Arrays, pyramid. Collections. Final variable. Yes, this one there. So I can rename it. Refactor rename. EX CPTN exception demo. So now I have couple of examples which I can show you. One is arithmetic index exception. So you can see this example, very good example. I have 5 integers size array. So you see here how to create, and I was talking about this size, that how much size you can give here. Integer dot max int -1. This is the maximum size of array in Java. You can use that size like this. Integer dot max value -1. So this is the size of the array is allowed in Java. You can use like that. So I'm putting here 5, that should be okay. I'm coming to a different question. So I have to show you the demo of array index exception. So array index exception means I have 0 to 4 here. But here I am trying to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to here it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 it's okay. Fifth is never there, right? 0 to 4 is there, but fifth is never there. So what could be the possible errors I can get? You can see here I told you that you can have multiple catch blocks. So the rule here is that if you have a multiple catch block, so you can design like that. There is an exception hierarchy. So parent class should be at the down one, and if two exceptions are like not related with each other, so you can put in any order. But if we have any parent exception, then you always put that exception in the downward. So let me show you that example. So I put here exception. So then it is okay, means there is no compilation error. But if I put this on the top, so I am getting one compilation error. Why? Because this is a subclass of this exception, because you know exception is parent of everything, and before this only throwable is allowed. If you are using throwable, then nothing is allowed on the top. So you should not use either this, or you, if you want to use both, then put this child before the parent. This is the rule. There could be no relation, because if you see about exceptions, lot of exceptions are there. You can design multiple exceptions, but the rule says that if there is a parent-child relationship, so child should be come first, then parent, because if parent is handling that exception, so there is no need of child. Okay, so this is the rule of exception, like multiple catch block in Java, and this is also interview question. In the when they will talk about multiple catch block allowed or not, so they will ask this concept, what is the rule for so exceptions, like ordering, if how will order the catch block. So you can say that if there is a relationship, parent child relationship, then child should come first and parent should come after that. But if there is no relation, so you can put in any order. Okay, I can take some from here, like I have a linkage error, or I can take some other example. File not found exception, consider that. So I'm hoping that there is no relationship between these things. So it's saying compilation error, unreachable code. So it will give you error like this. If I try to put before this, then also miss. I think there is some dependency, that's why it is not allowed. So there are rules, you have to go through that. Two quick fixes: remove catch clause, replace catch clause with the throws, because it's a checked exceptions. That's also the reason. I need to find some other exceptions. So let me go into Java, and then I will try to find other exceptions in the Java. I'm going there. Right click, open type hierarchy. So you see here, this is the type hierarchy. If I can put index out of bound exception, so let's see how it reacts. I can put it here. So you see here, if this is child, this is the parent of this, so in this order it is allowed. But if I put this on the before of that, so it will give you the compilation error. So this is one rule you have to follow. Second thing, you can go and check. I'm going to the except throwable. Right click, open type hierarchy. So let me go and check any other exception, like no exception handler, or I can go to the exception, I can take any other which is not related to that. Compile X, I can take this one. Just I want to show you this example that if it is not related to each other, so there is no problem. It's not allowed. What is the error? Cannot resolve a type. Type is not matching. Let me try go another, check other one. Exception. Some arithmetic exception I can show you. That should be okay. Runtime. Runtime. See, I'm showing this arithmetic exception. I'm coming to my this part, and I will put it here. You see here, now I'm not getting any compilation error because, and if I put this on the top also, there is no problem. So if there is no relationship between two exceptions, so you can put in any order, but if there is a relationship parent child, so child should come first and parent should come after that. So this is the golden rule of like multiple catch block, and this concept interviewer wants to listen from you. So you see here, this is indexing problem here, so this will match with this one, and since it will match with this one, so this will handle it, and then after that it will come out. It's not like switch case kind of thing that everyone will keep on handling it. So it was first match with what is the relevant exception, so it found this relevant exception, and then it will just print the things for that, and then it will come out. And you see here I have a finally block. So what is the concept of finally block? So finally block says that in Java, either your exception is occurred or it doesn't occur. In both of the cases, it is going to execute. So if exception is occurred, so your program will always terminate abnormally. It will be handled by catch block. But consider a scenario that you have made database connection, you have made some of like other files open kind of things. So if those kind of codes are there, so who is going to handle those codes? So finally block is for those kind of codes. If you have abnormal termination of program or a normal termination, in both of the cases, if you have opened some connection, you have to terminate that connection. You have opened some session, so you have to close that session. So those kind of codes should be written in the finally block. In the interview, they will ask you what code you will put in the finally block, because they want to listen that you have the concept or not. So first you will tell that finally block will always execute whether the exception will occur or it doesn't occur. It doesn't related to anything. It's a mandatory block. Second thing is that the code which I will put, suppose that exception occurred, so I have opened some file, I have opened some connection, I opened some database connection, so those kind of codes I will put to close it. Okay, because once my program is terminated abnormally or normally, in both of the cases it should be closed in a efficient manner. So for those kind of things I will put in the finally block, and after that this is the end of the program which I want to show you. So I know this program is going to occur some exception, so it will occur the exception, it will come here, and after that it will execute the finally block because this is the mandatory block, and then it will execute this one. So this is the order of execution, and this is the concept. You should have it, okay? And this is not the mandatory block, means like it's not mandatory that you should have the finally block, but if you keep it, then it will execution is mandatory. Just remember this. In both of the cases, whether exception occurred or it doesn't occur. You can see here 10, 50, 80, 70. The fifth one causes exception. Array index outer bound exception. It printed like this. Then it said catch block is executed. Then it says finally block is executed, and then finally run the end of the program. So you can see here, this is the mandatory thing for execution. Consider that I don't have the exception. Then what will happen? So now consider the second case. It will execute up to here. Then this will not executed catch block because no exception occurred. So it's a normal termination of the program. Then it will come. Then finally block it will execute, because I told that in the both of the case it will execute. Catch will only execute when the exception occurred, but the finally block will always execute, and then your this code will be executed. So you can see here, no error, nothing like that. 4 values printed, finally block executed, end of the program. Got it? Now something very important for you. In the interview they will ask you, can we have try catch without finally? So answer is yes. But again, if you say yes, they will say that, okay, can we have try without catch? The answer is yes, you can have it. Then what is the difference? This is the main concept I would like to give you. Consider that you have a try, you don't have catch, you have a finally. So you see here, the exception will occur. Two cases can be there. Exception will occur, exception will not occur. So if exception will occur, then finally block will be executed, and after that this line will not executed because exception occurred and you have not handled it. So catch is to handle the exception. I repeat what will happen. In this case, exception will occur. It is not handled in any catch. So finally block will execute because this is the mandatory. But after that your program will be terminated. Line number 50 will not execute it. So let's see this. Finally block is executed, but this line of code not executed. Why? Because exception occurred and I have not handled it. But what if exception doesn't occur? So it means it's a normal termination of the program, and in normal termination finally will execute and this line of code will execute. Simple. So this is the big difference you have to tell in the interview, and it's a very, very good concept. You should have it, the finally block. And after finally block, what happens? That concept is very, very important for everyone.
Rajiv, my internet disconnected for a minute. So, like when the exception occurred, what happened then?
In which condition?
When there is no catch.
Okay. So I was saying that, listen it again. Line number 24 is active. It means I am deliberately causing the exception. So in this case, the exception will occur and I have not handled it. So it will come down, finally will be executed, and then it will terminate from here. After line number 47, it will terminate. Let's run this and see this output. You can see here, finally block executed, correct? But after that, this line of code never executed. Line number 50 is not executed. But if my program is not having any error, then in that case it will come down. Since error is not there, exception is not there, it will come down, finally will execute, and then normal program execution will be done, and then it will come out. So let's run and see. So no error, nothing like coming, and it is normal program, termination is completed. So this is very good concept, but what if we have catch and what if we don't have catch? So in both of the conditions, two scenarios occur. One is exception is occurring or exception doesn't occurring. So based on that, you can give the answer that this is my concept, this will happen. So one more concept. They will ask, can we have try without catch, without finally? So you can say that in normal condition it's not allowed. You can see it. You see, I'm getting a compilation error. It says that finally to complete the statement means anything is mandatory, means either catch or finally. But there is a special case which is not widely used, that is called try with resources. So if you are interested, you can go and check. In that case, we don't need catch, we don't need finally. Java T point is there. So this is an example of try with resources. Okay. So what you have to do in the try, you have to pass something in the parenthesis like this. So this is something resources in this condition. You don't need catch, you don't need finally. Without that also you can create your program. So this is something next level thing. It's, people are not using it. Mostly I have seen, but that is also possible. But it's good to have this concept. You can say try with resources can have the one scenario where we can ignore catch and finally both. It really don't need to be used. But it's possible to have, right? But it's that a special case. Normal try catch not allowed. But next interview question they will ask on this, that can we have try under try, nested try can there? So it's allowed. Like for inside for, if inside if, switch inside switch. So same like try inside try. Anything is inside anything is allowed. So you can have multiple try here. Means you come here, then again you can put try catch like this. So one block can contain like that. That is also allowed. So it's better to have try catch and finally. The ideal scenario, what I can suggest, is always good to have try catch and finally. And one interview question is like, in which case finally will not execute? This is also interview question. Let's consider that finally block is there and it is not going to execute. So one is system failure. First scenario is system failure. Second scenario is system.exit. Means if you have used here, like this. So in this condition, this is interview question, that's why I'm highlighting it. In this condition, it will not going to execute finally block because it will terminate from here. After that, nothing will be done. You see here, it didn't execute finally block. Up to here it executed and after that it's gone. It terminated, you see, terminated. So this is also interview question. One is system failure and one is system.exit. So if you are using it, be careful. I don't see anything else is left for finally. So this is optional thing, means you can put or don't put, is up to you. Multiple catch also optional. Try catch is good practice. Try Finally can be also possible combination. Try without catch, without finally is also possible. That is a special case. Means there you have to put like parenthesis. That is called try with resources. So this is all about try catch. Now we will see more about exception handling. Still a lot of things are there. So we'll talk about checked and unchecked exceptions. More examples are there. Let's go and see. Checked exceptions. So what are the checked exceptions concept? You don't know about throws keyword, right? So basically there are two ways of handling exception in Java. One is via try catch and one is via throws. So try catch normally we are keeping for checked and unchecked. It's up to you. That's how you want to handle it. But throws is something you are calling the parent class of that exception, and then exception will be tracked from that class. You see here, I have written a piece of code. First try to understand what I have written. So I am trying to create a new file. It's trying to access a new file, not create. Okay, so I'm assuming that this file is already existing. Where it is existing, I have not given path. So by default, it will take it from the project location. Okay, this is considering that this is the project location. It should be there only in this folder. So actually this file is not there, right? Actually this file is not there. So I'm trying to read this file. So this is the class for reading the file input string, and here I'm getting some compilation error. So this is called checked exceptions. So there are two ways to handle it, either throws declaration or surround with try catch. So if you go with the throws declaration, what it will do, it will check for the main method or whatever the method you have called here. At the method level, it will add throws keyword and the exception name. Means file not found exception can be thrown. This code is checked one, and this is throwing this exception at the method level. But if you don't want to do this, second point of view is just come here and mouse over, surround with try catch. So it will become like this. Now I know this file is not there, and if I try to read this file, obviously I will get some error, exception will occur, and that exception will be handled here. And I am just putting one line of code so that you will understand it is handled. So everything is handled here in this class. I'm running there. Line number 17, and this line is executed. But you can see that other information is coming, and it is saying that test.txt is not found. And try to read from the bottom. It says that file input stream .java 138, this method was called, some method was called, and there it found error. Okay, you go there and see where it is. So it is trying to open the file. So first information for you is this. I'm going to the again show view console, and then again you try to read from the bottom one. This is additional information you should have. So again this, when this what you call error is coming, exception is coming, then it is pointing to this file, and this file line number 195. So again it is calling this open is calling to this open. You see here open 0, some method is there, so that method was called here. So this method is again calling this method open 0, and the name of the file it is passing here, and again this method is calling this method native method. You click there, so it is here only. After that there is no track, so you can get the information if you want to dig dive into those things, how it is being called, why so many things information is coming. So try to read line by line, try to click on the link, then you will get some of the information based on your interest. If you are interested, you can go and check for this information, it is really helpful for you, right? Now coming to this one, and if I don't write like this try catch, I want to handle via throws declaration, and I have a line is out, right click, run as Java application. So you see here this line never executed, right? Because I told that compiler that this exception will be handled by this file, I will not handle. You see here again it is calling in the same method, but my program is not handling this exception. So there are two ways of exception handling. In the interview they will ask you, so you can see that if it is a, you can use it via throws declaration, that is one thing. Second thing is like you can use it via try catch. So it's up to you, how do you want to handle the exception. So this is about exception handling, right? What are the type of exception? Checked and unchecked. Couple of examples you have to give. Null pointer, array index out of bound, arithmetic exception. Like checked exceptions are file not found exception, input output exception, and like interrupt exception. So I will show you one interrupt exception here only. Okay, you see here, before printing this message end of the program, I want to print like that, thread dot select. So I'm getting a compilation error. I just mouse over, add throws declaration. So this is interrupt exception. So this is a compile time exception, checked exception. So you can tell the name of couple of things: input output exception, interrupt exception, file not found exception. So these are the category of checked exceptions. You remember this because in the interview they will definitely ask you. This is super hit question of the interview. Tell me the name of couple of exceptions, and then what do you think, which one is checked and which one is unchecked. So you have to categorize as well. How many ways are there to handle the exception? So this is something important questions for interview. So your interview preparation is also parallelly going on. Now couple of points about checked and unchecked.
Sir, just a minute. I just have an interview question. They're asking that what is the most challenging exception that you have handled, and how have you handled it? So, please give some real-time scenarios which can be
Ask
cited.
ask about, are you asking about Selenium and then Java? So there are two categories. If you ask about Selenium, so no such element exception is like most occurring, and challenging is stale element exception handling. Okay,
Okay.
when I will
Okay.
talk about Selenium, I will define this in the Selenium things. But when you talk about Java, so you can say that file not found exception, input output exception, I have handled it, and this was the real challenging. Null pointer exception was the there, like, which was the challenging thing, because I forgot to initialize somewhere, so I have to initialize the variables. So those kind of things you can tell.
Okay. Thank you.
So couple of examples they have given here. Arithmetic, null pointer, array index, out of bound are the category of unchecked, as compiler cannot detect. Runtime also you can tell here. SQL exception, IO exception, class not found exception, file not found exception, interrupt exceptions. So couple of exceptions name are there which are category of the checked one. So checked is detected by the compiler, unchecked is detected by the execution of the program. Checked exception are checked by the compiler. So compile time exception. These exceptions are during execution time, so runtime exceptions. If exceptions are not handled, declared in the program, you will be compilation error. So this is something, same thing they are repeating. So that shouldn't be important. So these keywords, try, catch, finally, you have been introduced, throw and throws. I will introduce it later. So what you have to put? You have to put the error prone code here, and then catch, you will handle the code which is causing the exception. Finally block, you already know what it is going to do, but they will ask you what finally or what kind of code you will put. So throw and throws, just basic idea of throws you have just seen. So all are correlated: try, catch, finally, throw, throws. I will show you about these things, not today, I think next day, because it's still going on. So you see here, this is about custom exception. If someone has asked you that write your own exception in Java, so how you are going to do that? So what we have to do, that any exception class you can take, like any exception, parent, child, anyone you can take, and this is the custom name. Means I am designing this class, that's my class. You see here in which package I am keeping it, it's my package anywhere. This class is not the ready-made Java class, I am creating it. Okay, so I am extending any exception class. This is the rule which you have to follow, and you have to put two constructors, only two constructors. As basically you have to two constructors, but you can have more than two constructors, is up to one is parameterized one and one is default constructor. Okay, and in this constructor you have to first see the default one, what you have to put. So this is by default keyword, you don't need to put, this is understood, it will. So I have written it explicitly, but it is implicitly called. What it will do, it will call the parent class constructor. So you know this class has the parent as this one, so it will call this, but again it will call, you see here this one, this calling one concepts, it came here, but again it is calling to its super. So exception class parent is throwable, so it will go to this constructor, and then it will go to this constructor, it will call this method fill in track, fill in stack trace, and this line of code will be executed. Total code will be executed from the throwable whenever the any exception will occur, either it is exception written by you or it's a Java exceptions. Every time when the exception is occurring, this piece of code is executed. Just remember the name of this method, fill in stack trace. This is for your information. So I am calling it explicitly, but even I can hide it because I don't need to call it. It is implicitly called. And second constructor I am keeping here as a parameterized constructor. And you know, in a class you can have n number of constructors, parameterized constructors. So I have just put the string one, should be okay. And based on that you can just design the calling part. So you see here, so what I will pass here, it will come here and it will go, and there is one this one and there is one this one. So parameterized one will call the parameterized. So if I call this, then it will go to this throwable class, and this message one will be assigned to this one. But again, fill in stack trace will be called. So this is just a mandatory rule that this is the common method every time it is called. So how it is correlated, now you understand, right? So this is the way of custom exception creation. You can have one more constructor like this. Because there it's not allowed to pass integer, so you have to convert it into the string format. So you can design it, this it's up to you. You see here the way of creating the custom exception. Now the thing is that how you will use it, right? If you have designed something, then purpose of that design is to use it. So where you are going to use it? So if I have something, I can show you. You can see here, and there I am introducing the keyword throw. Can see here, this is implementation part. In implementation part, I have the main method. I am saying that age is 14, and in the try catch, I am just writing some piece of code. I am saying that if age is less than 18, throw new invalid age exception. So this exception, who has designed? I have designed, and the message what I am showing here, I am just passing here. So what it will do, it will go here, this is match string 1, and it is calling to this one, and it will be calling to this one. If else, I am saying that welcome to vote. It's eligible to vote, I will say. Means I am saying if someone is greater than 18, then person is eligible to vote. If it is not, then it will throw some of the exception. So you can ignore line number 14 because that is commented out. And how you are writing here, throw here. So throw is something to throw some exception instance. Instance means with a new keyword I am throwing it. So it is throwing the instance. So anonymous object it will create, and since it is one line, so anonymous is okay. So it is just throwing the instance. And then in the catch, I am catching this exception. You can see here if exception will occur. So I am catching the relevant exception, invalid exception, and I will say that caught the exception, and what the exception message I am just printing it. Understand? And this is the normal termination of the program I am putting. So if I run this program, you see that whether it is running as expected or not. One by one, I will use all the constructors. So you see here, first I am using this message one. It means this constructor I am using. Other two I am not using now. Right click, run as Java application. So it's saying that argument constructor invoked, caught the exception, this message coming, exception occurred, this, and age is not valid to vote. And end of the program. The message which I passed here, that message is also printed on the console. Now I am commenting this part. This is the default constructor I am throwing. So what it will do, it will print this message, it will call the super, and this it will print no argument constructor invoked. This message should be printed. Condition is same, no argument constructor is invoked, this message is coming. So this is one example, and third one I will show you. because I have the, what do you call it, integer one. So I will just write like this, throw, throw new invalid age exception, and I want to pass some integer value. So I will pass age. When it will go there, it will take that and it will some message I want to print. You can see here age is integer. I am passing the integer, so it will match to which one? It will match to this one. So it will call this one the message, and then this message will be printed. So both of the messages will be printed. Running it, Java application. So you can see here argument constructor invoked 14, this message coming, caught the exception, and this normal termination of the program. So in this way you can design your own custom exception. So I have showed you with one example. So this is the design part and this is the implementation part, but it's not mandatory that you have to use exception only, right? You can use any. You can see here I'm using runtime. So it's my wish that it's not mandatory that I have to use exception class. I can use any class, and now this class will become the parent of this class, and everything will be under this class control, and nothing change here. You see here my program, nothing change. I can just run it. So it's up to you. You can use throwable if you want. Right click, run as Java application. Run as Java application. So I'm getting the output as expected. Nothing change. Any doubt anyone has? Other things we will continue next part, next week. It's still going on. Don't worry, it is not finished. No doubt. Any doubt anyone has? Good. If there is no doubt, then good question. So I'm stopping the recording for today.